Hey, this is Connor with Yoda Nation. Looks like we're going to be building a transfer case today. I got some Marlin 407s, 30 spline, rear output, 30 spline front output. Got 23 spline, and we're just going to be running it. We're going to be taking the so basically what I'm going to try to do is, or that I will do, I'll take the gears out of this section here and toss them into my the one I just freshly powder coated yesterday. Everything looks all nice and shiny, all cleaned up. Then the Marlin 30 spline output for the rear, 30 spline output for the front, and then advanced adapters, gear reduction housing here, and then just Marlin 30 spline, or 23 spline 4.7s coming out of there. But I think this is just a case I had laying around, so there ain't no internals, no shift linkage, no forks, no nothing in there. So we're going to be trying to get that all squared away. Just taking the parts basically out of like this one and just tossing it in from this one to that one, and then call it good. And we'll just kind of cruise from there and see what we got going on. It's going to be a fun one. We're going to be going out through this journey, so hopefully this could help someone, especially with like the 30 spline outputs that he doesn't make, or they don't make anymore. Yeah, we're just going to make a heavy-duty Toyota transfer case. Here we go. Alright, I'm still trying to figure out if I want to powder coat these two pieces, because with it being bare aluminum, it's just, I think I got like a little bit of backsplash on it from something greasy, and it's already starting to look kind of goofy. So I don't know if I'm going to clear coat them, powder coat them, do whatever to them. I just got this one out of my sandblaster. I'll clean that up a little bit, make it all nice and shiny like the other one a little bit. But I don't know, just still trying to decide whether should I powder coat them. I got green, gray, black. Still trying to figure that out. We'll get there eventually. And then I'm going to I'm going to figure out whether to, all the hardware on this one is all nasty and grody, and I'm going to be using all the hardware from this one onto this one. So I'm not sure if I want to, I'll probably blast all these and make them all nice and pretty and kind of go from there. I don't know if I'll paint them, powder coat them, do whatever to them, but they're just kind of grungy looking. And I think somebody's been into this case before because of just how shiny it is. I don't know if there's 4.7s in this guy. It doesn't look like it from just the spline count. This was a 23 spline, but looking at the spline, it doesn't look like it's like a Marlin. It's not a trail gear, so I don't know what's actually in this case, but we'll figure it out. Yeah, I'm gonna try to clean this up, get it out of here, tear it down, then use all the goodies from this one and put them into this guy. Alrighty, so we got the donor case torn down. I'm in the process of just cleaning up all the shift forks, gears. I'm replacing all the bearings, so that's not that big of an issue. I got new bearings, new seals, new gaskets. Just got done getting these things all squared away to clearance for that 4.7. Then I'll double check it, make sure it actually clears once I get the gears actually in there. Same thing with this guy. Got this thing all clearanced out. So we should be looking pretty good. But like I said, I'll double check the clearance on it when I assemble the 4.7s, get them in there, and get the gears in there. Then this one should be basically these three are your gear reduction for your low range. I'm not gonna be really using those, so it's just gonna be this stuff plus my other housing, and give you another update when I get all that on. Cool. All right, man. Bye. All right. So for reference, this is everything that comes in that output 30 spline kit. Has the whole output, new gear seal, nut, oil pump, speedo gear, bearing, and the 30 spline flange. For reference, this is the stocky compared to it. Oh, let's get that pushed back. So it is quite a bit bigger for spline count. And as you can see on this one, the splines on it are starting to kind of twist. On that guy, starting to twist a little bit. But this one would have no issues with that. And the other thing is this one has double stakes on it, so that nut won't ever back out on you. Whereas this one's only a single stake on it. Yeah, and then triple drill flange. That's specifically for the 30 spline guy. So yeah, that's all we're gonna be putting in. Good go. And this thing's just more beefy all the way around. I mean, just everything, just 100%, just way bigger and stronger. And I don't think I'll ever have an issue with this guy at all. It's not like I romp on it, but you never know. But yeah, this thing's massive. Alright, so we got the new cage bearing on there, little needle bearing. Now it's time for the 4.7 little gear reduction guy. Get that guy slid over and make sure she's all nice and seated. Don't forget to put some assembly lube in. If you ever do a new output, make sure that you clean out all these little holes, because when it comes from the factory, there's a lot of little gunk in there, a lot of wax for shipping. Make sure it doesn't get rusty or anything like that. Make sure you get all those squared away, and yeah, on to the next step. We'll get the little collar, the little detent bearing, and then we'll get that snap ring on there and we'll collar. Alright, now once we got that guy on there, we're going to toss a little detent ball inside, a little grease in there so it hangs on pretty tight. Then a little collar, a little spacer deal. And then after that we'll put the bearing on. I'll get that guy slid on, make sure it's facing the right way, then it'll snap right down. Lock in with that little detent ball, and then we're groovy. Now I'll take it over to the press and get that little bearing pressed on. We'll call her good. Alright, I've got that. Get this bearing all popped out. And then make sure on this one's gonna be a 6308 bearing. It'll be, if you can see it, 6308. That's the bearing for this guy. And we'll drop that guy down, take it over to the press, press her down, get the snap ring on there. Alrighty, now it's time for the snap ring. Drop that guy down. We'll give her a little stretch deal. Oops. Like so. We'll grab a hammer and a punch. We'll just kind of tap her in. Boom. And just like that. That is done. Alrighty, now it's time to get the new housing on there. Just drop right down. A little persuasion. There it is. Your snap ring on there. Just work her on. A little click. There we go. And then I get Get this guy back on there, which cleaned up everything a little bit, so it should just kind of plop right down, so like that. Then new hardware, bam, 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 bam. You know, I'll get those in there, torque it down, and then go to the next step. Alright, just got the shift fork in there and a little roll pin. I'm gonna trim that guy down just a smidge. What we want to check is the clearance between the 4.7 and the little shift fork. Want to make sure that we ain't touching it, and we got a good amount of clearance, and make sure that roll pin doesn't go all the way through to where the roll pin is hitting that gear and causing some binding. And you also want to just kind of cycle it a little bit, make sure in like neutral it's not gonna hit anything, and then in like when low range is in, it's not gonna hit anything there. And it got the little pocket bearing in, and then lubed up all the rest, and and we'll kind of go from there. Alright, so I got all the gears and the reduction housing all in there, got the snap rings on, got the 2 bolts over here holding it on, just kind of finger tight, and then the other 2 bolts on the back side, same thing, finger tight. I got all the gears back in here, got the little shift forks all up in there. Now I just got to put on that rear one. But now we're on the step to put in the 30 spline front output, and this is what all comes in the Marlin kit. Got 30 spline output here with the same 2 stakes as like the rear output here, 1 and 2. So it comes with the output, bearing seal, nut, and the 30 spline triple drill flange. So yeah, I'll get this bearing tossed onto this guy, and the only thing I need to try to find is, which I'm sure I have 1,000 of them floating around, but a little snap ring for this guy to hold on to the case, which like I said, I should have one of those floating around somewhere. I'm sure I could find one. Yeah, so next step, get this guy in there. It's the Marlin Crawler output 30 spline fella, and like I said, I'll get the bearing tossed on, find a snap ring, and get this new housing on. I ended up painting the housings for the outputs like a silverish, like a silvery gunmetal kind of color, and I'll show you those here in a second. Alright, so I got the Eco Seal installed on this guy. Here's that color. It's like a gunmetal, silvery kind of thing. But yeah, it's good. Good, I got the seal on there. And then got the snap ring I found. And then this guy got pressed back on there. So we should be good there. And should be able to slide this fella right on in. Give him a couple wiggles. Maybe or not. There we go. Bang. Ooh, shit, too far. Back it up, Terry. Back it up, Terry. There we go. And we'll get the snap ring on there. There we go. Like so. Backseat that guy. And then make sure you use a paper gasket on all of these guys, because give you the right spacing. Get that guy on there, lined up. And there's direction. This little guy is an oil galley that needs to go this way. I'll lube that up real quick and toss her on. This thing lubed up a little bit. This one on the inside. that. Just so no dry starts happen here. Try to give it the best chance it can have. Get that all lubed up. There we go. Alright. Now, the fun part of lining this fella up like that. And this guy goes on. I fell over here. There we go. Something like that number. Now we'll get the bolts and all that, and we'll call her good here. Yeah, I think that's a nice little color contrast. Kind of reminds me of like an old, like Land Cruiser, like an Orion, with the cast iron metal case, then like the aluminum outputs. I think it just looks better that way though. But yeah, I'm getting that on there, and we'll call her good. All right, so just got this guy all torqued down. I think the Marlin one calls for like 14 or 15. I think the service manual calls for, I think, 10. So I went for 15 on this guy because they're fine. Don't worry about it. So now it's on to back to the rear side. Time to get the little ball in to that little spot. A little grease, make sure it doesn't run away. A little collar. Slide that guy on. Maybe one day. Yep, there it is. And twist it till it gets locked in. Then a little bit of grease, don't hurt nothing. Just add a little bit on there just to the surface. Bam. And then time for some needle bearings for that gear. Let me get this all lubed up real quick. There we go. Then brand new needle bearings going on. Bam. And bam. Now lube up the outside of those guys. But. There we go. And then let's get the gear all going. Move up inside of that guy, might as well. And then the surface. Go. Alright, so now we'll get this guy on there. Slip her right on. Let's get it on there. There we go. So now it comes down to that little gear on the collar of this little fella. This one actually has a lip on it, so it only goes down so far, whereas the stock one it just goes all the way through. But same thing, just the hole in this one's a little bit bigger, just to fit over this the Marlin spline thing. Yeah, so collar facing out, or the little lip facing out, should slide right on. Might need to give that a little bit of persuasion, or maybe not. Yeah, I'll need to give that a couple whacks to get that all set down on there, all nice and tight, which I'll do real quick. And then after this, I'll get the shift fork on with a little shift fork collar thingy, and then get the bearing on there. Then we're almost done. Pretty close. Alright, just got the shift fork on there, the collar, got the roll pin in there, so now it shifts into 4 and back into 2 easily. That is good. And then now get the idler in there. I just put a new bearing on it, so we should be all set there. Should be able to slide her right on in. Grease it up a little. There it is. I got that in there. Now this 30 spline came with, what's that little gunk? Get out of there. Trying to make it clean. There we go. This 30 spline came with a new bearing for a shaft here, so I'll toss this guy on. Maybe. There we go. Alright, and it's pre-greased, ready to roll. Not really a direction on it, so let's toss her on. Well, this one I'm gonna have to kind of wiggle back and forth. Maybe. Might need to give her the beans on this one too. Yeah, so I'll slide this guy back all the way back up to this guy, to this little gear here, and I'll be right back, because then after this I have to put on all the speedo gear and the oil pump, which is in this bag right here, which is going to be oversized in the center. Instead of using the old ones, I'll use the new ones out of the kit and get that thing all slid up on there. Alright, well now I'm kind of at a standstill because I got the oil pump, which is this guy. Usually a O-ring goes in this guy, but it's almost like it's too shallow for O-ring to hang on in there. This is my first problem, and then the second problem is the speedo gear that it came with. Usually there is a little detent ball that it sits into. That's where that little cutout is. Usually there's a little detent that speedo gear like hangs onto, but there is not one on this guy. But like this one has a little hole. So I don't know. I have to call them tomorrow when they're open and see if anybody over there knows what the deal is, because fuck, they stopped making this a while back. Yeah, there's no hole for the detent to hang on to, and after that the O-ring for the oil pump. Like this one, there's like a little ridge in there, but there's not enough room for the O-ring, whereas this one has the O-ring in there, but it's too small. So I'll give them a jingle tomorrow and just see if, you know, the O-ring has to be on there or not, or it was designed to not have the O-ring. And then the speedo gear just kind of slips on without the ball. So who knows? I'll give them a call tomorrow and find out. Yeehaw. Alrighty, so just got off the phone with Marlin. It looks like you do not need the O-ring on this guy, so I'll slide this guy on. Kind of something like that deal. And same thing with this. They don't need the detent ball, because the flange will just kind of push up against these guys and make them not move. And I think this is torqued down to like 110 instead of 90. So yeah, so we got that figured out. So now I got those guys. Something like that deal, right? Something like that right there. Something like that. So get that lined up like that. Now get the gasket and toss the rear section on here. Get her torqued down. Then I'll be able to toss this guy on, which is that other painted fella. And we'll be one step closer. Alright, so we got this back housing on, then the output housing. The seal installed. Just got to torque down these guys to 29 foot-pound. And then from there I'll get the speedo drive gear in and make sure it actually engages well and spins without binding or anything like that, just because it's a brand new unit. So we'll try doing all that. So I'll torque these guys down, and I'll bring you guys back when I get the speedo in there. Alright, so we got all the bolts torqued down, even the ones in the front. Got the output torqued down, got the rear torqued down. Got the speedo and the drive gear in there with new seal and that little guy torqued down. Now it's on to getting these little detents in there and the springs. So I have new spring and detent, and we're going to drop those guys in like so. That guy followed by a spring in, and then I'm going to put the little plug in there with a little dab of silicone, some gear like gear lube resistant silicone kind of stuff. I'm gonna get those guys in. I'll wipe up the leftovers when I'm done. It'll be getting kind of tight. Put this guy in there. This. That one's done. I'll get on the other side, get that one in there, then cycle it back and forth, make sure both, 4-wheel drive, 2-wheel drive goes in, then the high-low neutral goes in. Alright, so this is how far I got tonight. I got the actual case put together. I got this front flange torqued down. I need to stake it still. I'm waiting on the rear because I have like a transfer case parking brake that I'll had to put the brackets on from my old one onto there and call that good. I have the front case all cleaned up, set aside. These are brand new gears from, I think, Trail Gear, just 228s. And then my shift fork and everything here. I'm cleaning up the front housing a little bit. I got the studs installed for the adapter. Yeah, we're getting close. We tomorrow's kind of like D-Day. We're out to get everything done, but it'll be done. I'll get these guys put into the old case. I'll get the adapter on there. I'll get the trans brake on there, and call it good. Alright, so I got the front crawl box all put together with the Marlin adapter deal. Got a brand new set of gears in here from Trail Gear, just 228s. I got this thing all put together, all ready to roll. Now time to put this guy onto this fella, and it's gonna be 23 spline coming out of here, and then 21 spline going into my W56. But eventually I do have a R151F that I'll replace her with when I put the 3.4 in there. Alright, so she's at her final resting place. I just need to bolt her in. bolted into the skid plate, the tranny mounts, and she's groovy. Got the brake on there, and the shift linkage, everything's all bolted in, torqued down, ready to roll. Yeah, and that's it. It's a wrap. Yeah, just need to get the bolts in, fill it with fluid, put it in, and we'll be good. Yes, sir. Pretty cool.